my gosh, that was amazing.
Like many Israeli people, I was traveling out of Israel and I reached India. I was so curious and I was traveling with my guitar and I reached Dharamsala. And I was curious as a musician from the age of 9. I said, okay, let's give it a try. So I took some classes with tabla and took some classes with sitar. And I remember this moment in the first sitar class that this sound just mesmerized me and took me to another place. And this moment I knew, oh, I want to play this instrument. So sitar is one of the most expressive melodic instruments out there. The ability to bend sounds, do the mending, aka move continuously between two notes. Something that is not possible in instruments like piano or guitar or in general Western musical instruments. One biggest misconception about India is to say there is one Indian culture. So I really like South Indian food. For breakfast, like give me a dosa or idli. I'm so satisfied. I think it's like the healthiest breakfast on earth.
Dosa is also my favorite, by the way.
Other things that are very similar is a jugar culture.
Jugaad?
Yes. In Israel, we have the same thing. We are very good in improvising and finding solutions. I think this is one of the reasons we get along so well. Culture and arts is what connects humanity. It goes beyond politics and borders.
This Israeli man went to India as a backpacker at the age of 21 and came back as an Indian classical musician. Namaskar, shalom and welcome. My name is Ravital Moses, aka Moses in Israel, your favorite Indian Jew, born and raised in India and now living in Israel. And my goal is to bridge India and Israel one beat at a time. And today we have an artist amongst us, but he's Israeli, but he plays the Indian sitar, the one and only Yoyo Sitar. Did I say that right? Is that your AKA name?
Yeah.
Yoav, welcome to Moses in Israel. First, to give you guys context, he was unwell this entire week and he does not live very close to where I am. But he has schlepped all the way to Tel Aviv to do this episode. So thank you, Yoav, for making it today. I'm so excited to have you. First of all, how are you feeling?
Well, I'm very excited to be here. And then namaskar, everybody. Hello.
आप कैसे हैं?
सब कुछ ठीक है जी.
सब आपको ठीक लग रहा है अभी?
हाँ.
Okay. I am so intrigued by your journey. But let's talk about the first time you actually fell in love with this beautiful instrument. By the way, we have a special guest right next to him, right there. That's his sitar. How would you describe you falling in love with sitar?
Well, I was very young. I was at the age of 21, and like many Israeli people, I was traveling out of Israel, and I reached India. I was so curious, and I was traveling with my guitar, and I reached Dharamsala in the mountains, beautiful Himalayas, so inspiring. And there were so many teachers of all sorts of art forms, from Kathak dance to making jewelry to musicians teaching Indian classical music. And I was curious as a musician from the age of 9. I said, okay, let's give it a try. So I took some classes with tabla and took some classes with sitar. And I remember this moment in the first sitar class that this sound just mesmerized me and took me to another place. And this moment I knew, oh, I want to play this instrument.
So in a way, did sitar choose you?
Yeah.
Okay, I like that. But you're also a guitar player. From the age of 9, you've been very savvy with musical instruments.
Right. I come from a family where musical education was considered very important. And from a very young age, I was sent to study Western classical music, actually on cello as a child. And then later we moved to a small village which didn't have a cello teacher. So I moved to guitar. So yes, it's been a constant thread in my life since a very young age.
Okay, so Yoav currently is working on a very cool project. We'll talk about it later in this episode. But I want to talk more about your journey with sitar. You know what? Let's talk about it right now. You're building something called Harmonic sitar.
Right.
For people who don't understand what it means, what are you building?
So sitar is one of the most expressive melodic instruments out there. The ability to bend sounds, do the mending, aka move continuously between two notes, something that is not possible in instruments like piano or guitar or in general Western musical instruments, make it such an expressive instrument, which enable to convey so many emotions. I think that's one of the things that made me fall in love with the sitar. And in the traditional Indian classical music context, sitar has drone strings, which are kind of like the sound of the tampura, which are basically harmony that is giving context to the melody. But in traditional classical music, the harmony is staying constant. It's kind of the same chord all along you playing a piece. And with the years, when I started to play more and more with sitar, I started to play with different genres of music, not only classical. I started to play with jazz musicians, with African musicians, Middle Eastern musicians. I played in a Sufi Turkish orchestra and with electronic producers. And I started to notice that in these contexts, this fixed harmonic background becomes a problem. And like many other sitar players, I found myself blocking drone strings with my hand while playing. So first of all, it ruined the sound of the sitar. I didn't get the richness that sitar could have. And also, it limited my playfulness and playability because I was actively blocking the strings. So that's a context in which I realized, wow, I wish I could change the harmony while playing. And the harmonic sitar is an innovation that I made to solve this issue, to extend the sitar to different contexts. It answers a different musical question than the one that is needed for Indian classical music.
Wow, that is the thing is I know you're like in stealth right now, so hopefully when you're out we'll have a more visual representation. But I'm curious to know because you're trained in Western classical and Indian classical. Yesterday, when we were on a phone call, you actually gave me a very good explanation of the difference. Could you tell our audiences what is so special about the Indian ragas?
Okay, so actually there is a few things which are very distinct in Indian classical music. And I think the most important one for me is the emotional intelligence of Indian classical music. So in Western music, the scale is basically a cold thing. It's just a group of notes. We call it Dorian scale, we call it major scale, minor scale. It's just notes. In a raga system, each raga has a set of emotions that is connected to the raga. So you have one raga that is conveying the feel of devotion. You have another raga which is conveying the feel of longing for your lover that has gone away. And I found it so interesting and so important for me as a musician. In general, I would say you have two types of musicians. You have the very technical musicians. They are like, I wouldn't say like robots, but they are very accurate. They can take, in Western classical music, for example, they can take a chart of music and just play it, perfect. But then there is less emotion in their playing. And there is the type of musicians, they are the emotional musicians. They tweak it a bit, they don't do it perfect like it's written, but they do it much more emotional. And definitely I'm of the second type.
So you add like your own flavor to when you're actually playing the sitar, is what you're saying?
Yes, I mean, it's really part of Indian classical music. It's not only me. It's like...
Yes. As an Indian who grew up in India, like I feel like sometimes because I'm born in the culture, I can't really tell. But you as an Israeli who's been to India, I feel like you picked up on these very distinct differences. So that's very intriguing as an Indian to know. So thank you for sharing.
Another interesting fact about differences between the systems, in Western classical music, the notes are discrete. So you have do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do. And in Indian classical music, it's all about the movement between the notes, the continuity of movement between the sa, re, ga, ma. So you move, and so the voice can do it very easily. And sitar is one of these unique instruments that can actually do the same and move continuously between the notes by bending the strings.
I'm so excited. Wait, let's talk about the Indian culture for a second.
Sure.
Indians get heavily stereotyped, especially on social media. But because you've spent so much time in the land of India and also with Indians, what are some things you think was special about India and Indians?
I want to start with the fact that one biggest misconception about India is to say there is one Indian culture. If there is something that I learned after spending, I think, already 5 to 6 years in India, is that there is so many different cultures in one country. You have Tamili people, and you have Kashmiri people, you have the Delhi people, and you have Assam people. Each one has its different food, different language, different dances, different music tradition. Even inside the musical tradition, let's say like Hindustani music, you have different gharanas and different attitudes, which are completely different, actually. Like,
What's
so,
your favorite? You have to pick.
oh my God, I can't,
Okay, fine. Top 3.
So I really like South Indian food for breakfast. Like, give me a dosa or idli. I'm so satisfied. I think it's like the healthiest breakfast on earth.
Dosa is also my favorite, by the way.
And one of the things that I love about India is a respect towards arts. So in a lot of places, art is considered some kind of privilege. And in India, it's like part of society. I was spending time in Delhi. I was amazed that you have all these biggest maestros of Indian classical music, and all their concerts are free, funded by different organizations. And this attitude that culture and art is part of life and it should be supported by society, it's something that blew my mind.
As an Israeli, what do you think are some similarities between the Israeli culture and the Indian culture, apart from aunties and savtas asking you, when are you getting married?
Funny, it was exactly what I was about to say. I get it a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think especially after you cross the age of 25, everybody's asking you, when are you getting married? That was a culture shock for me because I thought in Israel, people are going to stop asking me.
No.
But it was quite the opposite.
So apart from the aunties, so basically I would say it's the center of the family. Both cultures, family is a center of society, and the relations between the family is so important. The directness. Both countries are quite direct. People can intervene in your life.
You really think so? Indians are like direct? I feel quite the opposite.
I mean, the Israelis are more direct. You're right. But they do allow themselves. I mean, the fact that aunties ask you this, yes, it is kind of directness, no?
Actually, you're right. Yes. They pick what they need to be direct with. Anything to do with, do you have somebody in your life? When are you going to have kids? I think that aspect, super direct. But anything to do apart from that, not so much.
Fair enough. Yes. In Israel, we are more brutal in the directness. Sometimes, wow, it was probably very difficult for you to adjust to this, no?
Really, and it was, I mean, yes, but also because I came during COVID, everybody's directness was like on steroids. I used to be like, why are Israelis so rude? You can just say it with a smile on your face, but I just understand that it is what it is. But my Indian friends tell me, oh, you're so rude. And I'm like, and then I realize, oh, because I'm also part of the Israeli culture now.
Yes.
So probably.
You've been corrupted, So other things that are very similar is a Jugar culture.
Jugar?
Yes. In Israel, we have the same thing. We are very good in improvising and finding solutions. I think this is one of the reasons we get along so well, because both of us, we are not fixated. Oh, this has to be this kind of, solution by the book. We improvise. So if in India you call it a Jugar, and a person is a Jugaru if he does a lot of Jugar. So in Israel, it's like you could say a combina or combinato.
Okay.
Or chutzpah.
Oh, chutzpah, I think
Yes, it's somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
So this is very similar.
Yeah.
And friendliness. That's the thing that, for me, why I find India my second home. Because it's so easy to make friends. Everywhere you go, people are so friendly. It's so easy to engage in conversations. Even when I traveled with my family in Italy a few years ago, all the European people there, nobody talked to us. The only people that we had conversation with were other Indian tourists. So,
really? What did you guys talk about?
The food.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Food. Before we move on, let me share a quick insight. All of you have been watching this channel, but 80% of you have not subscribed to this channel. Only with your support, I'm able to grow, invite better guests, and create an impact in the India-Israel space. So please go ahead, click that subscribe button and help this channel grow. You can also support this channel on Ko-fi. With great content comes great responsibility and great expense. So every little bit helps. And now, back to the show. But I do have a question. In the 5 to 6 years that you've spent in India over the last few years, have you received any anti Semitism or like Jewish hatred from Indians?
No, the contrary. I actually felt so much welcome and appreciated. I think there is another similarity that both of our cultures are very ancient. We carry each of us baggage, cultural baggage of thousands of years. Yeah, no, I didn't feel it all actually.
Okay. Do you feel safe in India? Like, or do you have to hide your identity?
I never hide my identity in India. I can be myself pretty much. That's one of the reasons why a lot of Israelis love India, because they can be themselves. Not as an Israeli, I'm not talking about that. In general, you can be yourself. Something which is very amazing about India is the tolerance, the variety. This variety of different religions and different traditions that all live together and coexist together. In a lot of countries, culture is very, it's one thing.
It's black and white.
It's black and white, and something about, I guess, the Indian approach, the Hinduism approach of this lots of gods, and so Jesus comes. Okay, let's build also a Hindu temple for Jesus. He's like just another god. Let's not fight it. It's like let's absorb it.
That's actually very right. Absorbing. That's why there's so many minorities. I'm one living example because I'm born and raised there. Let's come back to your art. I would love to talk about who do you look up to when it comes to sitar artists. I'm sure you have like, oh my gosh, I want to be like this person, or I take inspiration. Can you tell us?
So my main inspiration is the Vilayat Khan Gharana. Today, physically sitars, there is mostly two types of sitars.
Mm-hmm.
There is Ravi Shankar style sitars and Vilayat Khan. And my own guru, Dudu Elkabir, he studied with Sujat Khan, the son of Vilayat Khan. So I come from that Gharana, and for me, hearing the intricate and emotions that Vilayat Khan managed to convey in sitar is mind-blowing. There is some recordings that I've been listening already for 20 years, and I just can't get enough of it,
Mm.
And if we're talking about contemporary sitar artists, then Prubayan Chatterjee is very inspiring for me to see how he's taking the sitar into new contexts. And I feel inspired because I do the same in different ways.
Mm.
And so it's nice to see that, to see some Indian sitar players doing it as well. And of course, Sujat Khan. I love how he sings with a sitar, and he's a big inspiration, how he spreads love and unity in every show.
Would you love to do like a sitar concert in India or in Israel? You've done it before.
I've done many. I'm doing it all the time in Israel and also in India.
Okay. Guys, watch out. I'm going to add the link of Yoav's social media in the description. First, follow him so that you can be up to date about his concerts. So exciting. I do have another question. Your connection to India is not just through music, but also through tech. Tell us more about this tech accelerator in India that gave you an opportunity to work on something.
Okay, so I'll give the context. So as I've been playing music since the age of 9, but I've also been programming since the age of 14. So I've been doing pretty much both things all my life. And since I got to my 20s, I was doing both things in parallel. I was studying in university, mathematics and computer science, and playing music at the same time. So I kept these two threads in my life in parallel. And it kind of made my personality split between these two polarities.
Mm.
With the years, I got drawn more and more towards the music side.
Mm.
And the irony that there was this moment where I got completely submerged into the music side, but then this idea of mine of the harmonic sitar was so strong. I was carrying it for a few years. So then a year and a half ago, I decided, okay, enough to dream about it. I want to manifest this in reality. And so actually I came to Delhi. I was renting a house in Gurgaon, if to be more accurate, next to a musician called Kartik Vashisht. He's a bansuri player from Gurgaon, and we started to work on a project. I think you saw one of these videos.
Okay.
With a moon, this one.
Yes.
Okay, so we were working on this musical project, and I decided, okay, I am just starting this harmonic sitar project. I'm manifesting it. This year it's happening. And I kind of randomly started it, in this room in Gurgaon on my laptop, starting to design it. I felt a bit lost, but then I was like, no, believe in your way, believe in this dream. And I started to work on it. And fate wanted it that I was actually in a summer house in Delhi. I was performing with an Indian band called the Raga Fusion Band. And I was performing there with a sitar. After the concert, there was an Israeli woman in the audience, and she comes and she talks to me. And she's asking me, wow, it's so amazing how you play. And we start to talk. And then she tells me, oh, I bring tech companies from Israel to India.
Oh, I think I know who you're talking about.
Yes, Noah Mutsafi. God
Shout
bless
out.
her.
Shout out to Noah.
She said, well, great, let's share with her what I'm building. So I told her that I'm working on this harmonic sitar, and she was like, oh, next week there is a Mahakumbh, startup Mahakumbh. So she said, oh, next week there is the biggest IT convention in India, Startup Mahakumbh, happening in Delhi. Why don't you come and present your idea? So I decided to jump on the opportunity. I went and I bought a suit, first time in my life.
Because in Israel, nobody wears blazers and suits.
No. We are the most informal culture on earth. CEOs goes with shorts and sandals. It's for Indian people, it's probably very strange to see. And so I decided to play the game, got my suit, started Mahakumbh, and presented my idea. And this started a chain of events. A few months later, I was contacted from iCreate. iCreate is an Indian accelerator, government-backed accelerator from Gujarat. So they contacted me after hearing about me.
Yeah.
And they had an offer. They said, look, we're doing this program in the summer. It's going to be a cohort called ProtoQuick, and we're going to take young engineers that just finished studies in various Indian colleges and universities, and we are going to help them develop startups in the field of robotics. And we saw your CV, and we saw that you have a lot of experience with robotics, and we also heard that you have your own project in the music tech and robotic field, and we have an offer for you. Why don't you come and be a mentor for the young postgraduate students? And at the same time, you can be a participant in the program and get all the support, all the facilities, labs, budget for components. So I said, wow, great. And it was great in few ways. One, it gave me a chance to give back to India. I was given along the years so much teaching and learning from India, so many gurus that taught me so many beautiful things. If it's sitar, if it's meditation, if it's yoga, if it's spirituality and philosophy. And this chance to come as a mentor and to teach young students from the Israeli experience of technology and robotics, which is a very specialized field. So I was really excited. And of course, getting facilities to accelerate my own instrument building, to get a lab. So I jumped on the idea, and iCreate is an amazing organization. It's a campus. I would define it as a technological monastery. It's situated in the middle of nature in Gujarat. You have cobras running around in the fields. True story. And just being there for 2 months, not having to think about anything else, just concentrating on my R&D and supporting the young engineers.
Okay.
It was a wonderful time.
Are you still continuing that? Is that something that's still going in the back end?
Yes, I'm definitely still in contact with iCreate, and they became my friends and family.
This is a shout out to iCreate. Thank you for giving our Israeli man the opportunity to give back to India and also mentor postgraduate students from India. I think now is the time for the concert. Would you be able to showcase your talent? I wish we had more time, but if you can give us a jhalak of your artistry, your craft, would you be able to give that to me and the audience?
Yes, so I'm going to play you a tune called Garage Garage. It's a Malahar tune, and it's fitting for the monsoon season.
Okay.
So it's fitting the time we are in now.
In India.
Yes.
Let's do it.
And I hope you enjoy.
my gosh, that was amazing. That was magical. You're such a natural.
Thank you. Let's explain what the harmonic sitar is going to do.
Okay.
So, like we said, the drone gives context to the melody.
What's the drone?
Okay, so the drone is this sound.
Okay.
So, let's see how different drone give different context to the melody. So we have the drone's sound. It's basically a chord.
Okay.
So I'll play the same phrase twice, same melodic phrase on a different drones.
Okay.
And hopefully you will see the
Okay.
different context it gives. So now, as you can see here, I've put my sitar capo, which changes the drones. Listen now.
Mm.
And I'll play the same phrase.
It's completely different.
The melody is exactly the same.
It's the way it sounds.
Yes, because the harmony gives context to the melody.
Mm.
So just imagine that the harmonic sitar is this, but that I control with the foot. I press a button and this thing moves.
Because you press it like you don't have to touch it with your hands. When you press it with your foot, it moves.
So basically, the inspiration for this idea was looking at goddess Saraswati. And you see all her photos with many hands. And I was thinking, wow, she probably, when she's playing the Veena, she could probably do it, change to different drone strings. But us mortals, we don't have this privilege, And then I realized, actually, I'm kind of a monkey, I have I have legs. And when you look monkeys in India, they use all the time their legs to hold things. So I was asking myself, I realized I have my third arm.
Mm-hmm.
It's my leg. So the innovation is having some kind of robotic elements that sit on the sitar, and the leg is controlling it. So when I press something with the leg, it moves on the sitar and changes the drones for me.
Well, thank you for a quick demo. I'm sure once your prototype, or I don't know what to call it, what's the right term, the prototype is out, we'll probably make another video with the actual working of the harmonic sitar. But I think this was a very good demonstration of how it works. So I wish you good luck. It's going to be amazing. Yoav, moving forward, I know you have big plans. What does the future hold for you?
So I'm actually very excited to release my Devout EP, which has 4 songs, and all these 4 songs are very different. Each one is a kind of a different genre, but all of them have been composed while I was traveling, and a few of them started while I was traveling in India.
Okay.
So I stayed in India during COVID time for 2 years, and while I was there, I had a small field recorder, and I had time because of lockdown, and I started to work on the new music, which finally reached to the place where I can share it with the world.
When can we expect it?
So in the middle of August, pretty much around 26th of August, it's going to be released to the world.
Well, Mazal Tov, and good luck. We're really excited.
Thank you.
Where can we find your music?
So it's going to be released on all platforms like YouTube and Spotify and Apple Music, and of course in Instagram. And the first song is a very special song. It's a mix. It's my favorite genre these days. I call it Afro Raga. Afro Raga is this mixture of Afro music, African music, and Raga music, Raga-based music from India. And this first song is a mix of 2 traditional songs. One coming from Mali. It's called Dejelia, and it's in the language of Mandinka. And it's come from a culture of instruments called goni and kora. These are actually similar to sitar because they are pumpkin-based with a long neck and many strings, but very different sounds. They're more like, you could call it an African harp. And on the other side, lagare tumsepia, which is a old classical Chota Kayal bandish.
Okay.
And we made a fusion between these 2 songs.
Okay.
And this between 2 deep musical traditions. And we have an Indian singer named Akash Singh.
Okay.
That is singing the Lagare Tumsepia. And we have Saki, which is actually a Japanese goni player that is singing the Jelia. And it's a very beautiful mix, and I'm so excited to release it.
We're so excited to hear. It's going to be fusion, basically.
Yes.
Okay, that's super cool. Well, I'm like I said, I'm gonna add all the links in the description. So please follow Yoav because we have some really cool stuff coming out. I didn't know you could do so many things with sitar itself. But now we have arrived to the last segment of this episode, How Time Flies By. I always ask my guests to give a special message to the audiences. So, what would be your special message to the audiences of Moses in Israel?
So, to the Indian audience, first of all, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for giving me a place to learn and so many friendships and so many experience and a second home. I'm so grateful to the Indian people and to the Indian culture for being so vast and open, actually. And for the Israelis, I want to encourage you to go and explore India with an open heart and understand that India has so many things to give us, and to we can learn so much from Indian culture, and to not come with ideas that India is like this or like that, like sometimes you see in social media. Don't reduce it. It has so much complexity to learn from. And I want to say that culture and arts is what connects humanity. It goes beyond politics and borders and all this, I would say. It's what connects the hearts of people from all around the world, and the mutual art and culture. And I encourage Israelis and Indians to create mutual art and culture.
I think you are the right representation of what you just said, because I know India and Israel, the relationship was very transactional in the beginning, right? India had defense, India had scale, but culture is harder because you don't really need it like you need drip irrigation and fighter jets. But culture is the only thing that is going to change this relationship into from a transactional into an emotional. So thank you, Yoav, for giving a perspective about India from the Israeli brain. I hope you enjoyed this time. I really wish we had more time, but this calls for episode 2. So thank you, Yoav, once again. If you want to follow Yoav and his music, I'm going to add his social media links to the description. Also, go down the comment section and give a thumbs up if you like this video and if you want to support Yoav. And in the meantime, stay safe, watch the right content, and I'll see you next time.